Renowned swordsman Li unexpectedly appears at the old mansion in the countryside. He visits you to entrust her with using the private security company to deliver the fabled 400-year-old sword, Green Destiny, to Beijing. Green Destiny is Li's personal sword, a valuable gift representing his impending retirement from the life of a swordsman. Yu doesn't ask why he's retiring but accepts the task and sends the sword to Beijing. She thinks she can return after completing the task, but she doesn't know the sword has already been targeted. That evening, a figure in black sneaks into the mansion and swiftly takes the sword. Guards discover the theft and raise an alarm. Yu hears the commotion and swiftly ascends to the rooftop, chasing after the thief. After a brief exchange of blows, Yu is surprised to find out that the thief is skilled in Wudang martial arts. The thief, however, doesn't respond and escapes. Yu quickly intercepts the thief at the city gate, and they engage in close combat again. However, it's evident that the thief is no match for Yu. Just as Yu is about to subdue the thief, another attacker appears behind her. Although Yu remains unharmed, the thief manages to escape outside the city. Yu feels a bit regretful. After a brief encounter, she also has a rough idea of the thief's true identity. The next day, Yu finds the young lady of the household, Jen, and politely congratulates her on her upcoming marriage. Jen confesses that she doesn't want to marry and is drawn to the love and hate depicted in martial arts novels. She wants to see the world. Yu's expression becomes desolate upon hearing this, knowing that only those who have made a name for themselves in the martial world truly understand that it's not as glamorous as it seems. Meanwhile, guards searching the streets for the thief encounter a bounty hunter and his daughter, who have come to Beijing to find Jade Fox. Jade Fox had previously killed the bounty hunter's wife. The father and daughter perform on the streets, knowing that Jade Fox is hiding in the mansion. At nightfall, they confront their enemy on the outskirts of the city. However, despite their efforts, they are no match for Jade Fox, and they are on the brink of defeat. Just as they are about to meet their end, Li appears and saves them. He then turns his gaze towards Jade Fox. It turns out that Jade Fox poisoned Li's master to obtain the secret martial arts techniques. After many years of pursuit, fate finally brings Li face to face with his enemy. Unable to contain his rage any longer, Li swiftly draws his sword and strikes at his foe. However, the masked figure reappears, wielding Green Destiny, and attacks Li. Surprised by the assailant's Wudang swordsmanship, Li's focus allows Jade Fox to escape once again. The next day, news of the incident reaches the mansion, and Yu realizes the gravity of the situation. She approaches Jen cautiously to probe for information. Knowing that Jen possesses martial arts skills, Yu suspects her as the thief who stole the sword. Jen also senses the underlying suspicion and decides to return the sword secretly that night. However, Li has been waiting for her. Through their previous brief encounter, Li recognizes Jen's extraordinary talent and decides to take her as his disciple to guide her towards the path of righteousness. Despite being badly beaten, Jen remains defiant and flees. Meanwhile, Jade Fox realizes that Jen's secret cannot be hidden any longer and attempts to forcefully take her away. However, they engage in a fight, revealing that Jen's martial arts skills far surpass those of Jade Fox. It turns out that Jade Fox is illiterate and could only learn martial arts by following diagrams, while Jen's higher level of education allowed her to excel in martial arts through secret practice. Enraged by Jen's betrayal, Jade Fox curses her former disciple and they part ways. After some time, as the wedding procession arrives at the mansion, a man suddenly appears and causes a scene. Li and Yu intervene to defuse the situation and learn that the man, Tiger, had a close relationship with Jen at the border. His disruption is driven by his pursuit of love. Despite his pleas, Li warns him of impending danger and advises him to seek refuge at Mount Wudang. Shortly afterward, Green Destiny disappears from the mansion, and Jen, who should have been the bride, is spotted at a tea house outside the city. Two martial artists, seeing her extravagant attire, draw their swords to test her. However, Jen swiftly draws her sword and effortlessly cuts through their weapons. Later, Jen, who stays at an inn, is quickly surrounded by a group of people. They have heard of skilled fighters in the area and gather to test their martial arts prowess. Ignoring the rules of the martial world, Jen swiftly defeats several opponents. Infuriated by their loss of face, the martial artists attack her in a group. Jen, wielding Green Destiny, focuses on disarming her opponents. She moves effortlessly from the second floor to the courtyard, and back again, with no one able to stop her. Satisfied with fulfilling her martial arts dreams, Jen stays at Yu's home. Yu advises her to return home and inform her parents of her safety, but Jen becomes enraged at the suggestion. Seeing Jen's stubbornness, Yu insists she leave Green Destiny behind, but Jen pays no heed and walks away. Yu tries to stop her and draws her sword, but despite her formidable skills, she is no match for Jen wielding green destiny and ends up wounded. Just then, Li arrives, and seeing his beloved friend injured, he turns pale with anger and demands green destiny back. Realizing she's no match for him, Jen tries to flee, but behind her is none other than the greatest swordsman in the world, Li, whose martial arts skills are unmatched. Instead of immediately subduing Jen, Li gently advises her to choose the path of righteousness. Feeling agitated, Jen knows she can't defeat Li and makes a bet with him. If he can retrieve the sword within 3 moves, she will accompany him to Wudang to train. Before Jen can respond, Li swiftly grabs green destiny, leaving Jen visibly displeased and refusing to honor the bet. Enraged, Li throws the sword off the waterfall, and without hesitation, Jen jumps after it. Jade Fox appears and swiftly takes her away. Li finds Jen in a cave, but she is in a delirious state due to the drugs administered by Jade Fox. Knowing this, Li uses his inner strength to heal and detoxify Jen. Soon after, Yu enters, claiming to have seen Jade Fox's shadow. Before they can react, countless poison needles come flying towards them. While Li fends off the needles with his sword and kills Jade Fox, he is also hit by a poison needle, the same kind that killed his master. As everyone is at a loss, Jen speaks up, revealing she has the formula for the antidote but needs time to prepare it, during which Li must use his inner strength to withstand the potent poison. Meanwhile, Jen works frantically to create the antidote, but ultimately, it's too late. In his final moments, Li is filled with regret for not retiring earlier, for not expressing his feelings to you, and only now realizing his lingering attachment to the world. After Li's death, Yu forgives Jen's rudeness and advises her to retreat with Tiger. Jen spends a night with Tiger at Mount Wudang but leaves without any attachment the next morning, jumping off the cliff without hesitation. Perhaps she seeks redemption, or perhaps she is disillusioned with the injustices of the world that cannot accommodate a girl who seeks freedom.